So Spencer Fearon now joins us to break down the mechanics around the Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury mega fight. Welcome, first of all, Spencer. How are you?
I'm blessed, highly favoured. Even better speaks to you, gentlemen, to tell you the honest truth.
Well, thank you very much indeed. Yeah, we're highly blessed. We've just got off with speaking with British middleweight champion Denzel Bentley after his wonderful win against Mark Fearon. Yeah, absolutely. We're very, very close.
About 2 months ago, I told everyone on the zone, I did the stand-in for their jabs column, myself and Chris. I said, look out for this kid, Denzel Bentley. So it's 3 months ago. And subsequently, since then, he's gone on and got a draw with Fearon, then got an emphatic win against Fearon. So Denzel Bentley is a very, very good fighter. He pesters me a lot to say what fights he should be watching. So it's like, yeah, I like him. I know his family from way back. So he's a good kid.
Yeah, we went down and saw him at the Peacock.
Okay.
Just, 2 months ago?
Yeah.
It was in early October.
Okay, where are you guys based?
In Fearon in Somerset.
All right, Fearon. Okay, yes.
Ever heard of it?
I've never heard of it in my life,
Nah.
but yeah.
It's near Bath.
Bath. Yeah, okay, yeah. Well, I know where Bath is, right?
Yeah.
So, we've been to both Peacock gyms. We went to the old, acclaimed, historical, monumental gym there in London, which we found absolutely enthralling. And then we're invited by Eddie Muscat up to the new gym, where we obviously spent quality time with Martin Bowers and watched Daniel Dubois in his sparring and caught up with Daniel as well. In terms of Daniel Dubois and that fight with Joe Joyce, I mean, we were glued to the TV screens. It was so enthralling to see how that was actually going to play out. If I'm honest with you, I don't think he quit. I think if you're a young
So what do you
boxer,
think he did? Sorry, what do you think he did? What do you think he did?
I don't think he quit. I think
so. Explain to me what he did then.
I think there was a little bit of self-preservation.
At the age of 23.
I'll up self-preservation. They're still quitting. No matter how you want to jazz it up or anything else, I'm just being 100%. And people, like, I've been getting a lot. I'm just going to be real. I've been getting a lot from Daniel Dubois' community saying that me, the person being with him, my community and the standard that I have culturally, that I should be supporting him a little bit more. I can't listen. I'm going to just keep this 100, and like, I haven't spoken about this on any other platform. So I'm speaking this on yours, and I'm just being 100% real. You don't speak about somebody's mother. Daniel Dubois, in the build-up, and I don't even believe that it was Daniel Dubois that came up with that line, but he said to Joe Joyce's mother, she's registered blind, but she can see little bits, but she's registered blind. He said it's a good thing that you can't see because you can't witness what I'm going to do to your son. Now that's sacrilege, and I don't business, right? So on those, and it was those things where I didn't turn on him. I just think whoever's advising you, you should never have said that. I'm a person. Listen, you could be my enemy, and someone speak about your mother, and I'm on your side because I don't do the mom's thing. Seriously, I'm very, very touchy when you speak about mothers. I know even more so. I've got 4 beautiful children, and when you're in the labor room and you see what the female has to endure to give birth,
been there.
Right, exactly. You kind of look on your missus different, don't you?
Yeah.
Right, you do. You have a different kind of admiration, different kind of respect that you think that you know, but you don't know. And how many children you got, sir?
2. I have 2. It's my daughter's 10th birthday today.
Oh, she's Sagittarius. Happy birthday to you. It's my birthday on Sunday. Happy birthday to your daughter. Trust me, she's going to be a troublemaker. But anyway, what I'm trying to say to you, what I'm trying to say to you is, like, you witnessed that yourself, right? So James, right? You witnessed that. You have a different form of respect for your missus after witnessing that, right? Then on top of that, right? Seriously, I've got 4 beautiful children. And you as a father, you kind of get a little bit envious because they're all about the moms. Your kids are all about the mom.
Yeah.
Reason why? Because the mother is the first teacher of the child.
Yeah.
So I could turn around and say, well, you were young and it wasn't really thought out. But obviously, and no disrespect to either of the guys, Joe Joyce is really cool. I get on well with Joe Joyce. You know what I mean? And I get on well with Daniel Dubois' father. I know his father is a very nice man.
Yeah.
Whoever advised him to say that line, because I don't believe that Daniel Dubois would have come up with that line.
I agree with that.
No.
Right? And I'm not saying that the kid's stupid, but he's very reclusive to himself, right?
Yeah,
Everything's boxing. Right. So who on earth told you to say that line? And on top of that, you said that to that's just wrong. So you deserve it of your beating. And I know that God's got a sense of humor because you poked fun of her eye condition or her impaired vision. And look at that. The universe, God must have been laughing to say, all right, then we're going to see something now. And then you enjoyed the same thing. So that's that. And you can clip that one up and use it. I don't care. When everyone's saying, because it seems like everyone's brushed over that comment. That's sacrilege. In my community where I'm from, you can lose your life over that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just keeping it 100. From where I am from, or where I've grown up, saying something like that, you could actually lose your life.
Do you think with Dubois, he's obviously a little bit, he's almost the boy next door, Daniel Dubois, compared to, say, for example, a Joe Joyce. Do you think he was being advised?
How is Daniel Dubois a boy next door?
He's, you've put me on the spot now. So
I know I have, James.
He's a little bit more.
How is he?
He's a little bit more clean cut. He comes across as a lot nicer, softer.
I'll tell you one thing. The mobile phone. The mobile phone of Daniel Dubois has one telephone number in it. His father's, dedicated to the fight game, or unless that's what they put out there, for instance. Well, I felt when we spoke to him, he was very reclusive. I felt he didn't really want to be interviewed, and I felt he was socially awkward.
Right. And let me tell you this now, right? People like that who... I don't really get too deep in it.
Yeah.
But people, and the reason why, I'll tell you why, right? Because people who and I can't even say suffer from autism, but people who have autism, like majority of people on the planet have autism. Well, the reason why I can say that because I'm autistic. Hence why I can do nuts things like I remember fight dates and blah, 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 and all the rest of it. I remember who did what in the 5th round in 1930. Right. I've only recently been diagnosed. Yeah, it's been about 18 months. Okay, right. But the thing about it is this, James. Anybody who knew me from young knew, there's something about it. There's something quite a bit like, So certain people have it, but if you're being guarded, and not even safeguarded, but if you've been guarded just to be this athlete, which has been the dad's aspiration, because you've got to think your kids don't just walk into something and think, it's my aspiration. No, it should be your old man's aspiration. Your old man's a very intelligent man. He knows a lot about boxing. When I mean he knows a lot. Facts, figures, everything, all right? If you're being so safeguarded away from the world outside, thinking that, I'm going to safeguard you from the world outside, what's going to happen is this. Eventually, something's going to break. And something's going to break where you're going to become very rebellious. I don't believe that Daniel Dubois had a girlfriend. I don't believe, because everything's been boxing. So if you're being that way, you're socially inadequate.
I can see that.
Right, exactly. And also, you could be dangerous. I'm being real here. You need experience of life to be built, because when you're safeguarded, and then what's going to happen is this. Now, say he went on and become world heavyweight champion. And after one, then what happens? He meets some girl, and the girl's going to say, F the dad. You don't need him. Then you're going to see all kind of craziness going on. I'm telling you this now.
Would you call it the Mike Tyson effect?
No, not necessarily. Because Mike Tyson still had social skills. Mike Tyson, have you read Mike Tyson's, Undisputed book? Have you read that?
Yeah, he's very eloquent.
Right. So, even though Mike Tyson was all boxing, but Mike Tyson still got to hang around, or was in a position where he hanged around like really rough kids in Brownsville. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mike Tyson got experience of street life. Daniel Dubois had none of that. Everything's been geared to boxing. Everything has been geared to boxing. So because of that, I'm saying that you could end up being a danger. I'm just breaking. Listen, I decided going into 2020 losing 13 people from COVID, who are close people to me as well. Like, you know, to hell with it. I'm just speaking my mind. And I'm not saying things to upset people. I'm just speaking my mind because I know how emphatically I love this sport of boxing and how many hours I've dedicated over the years in studying this sport. So, no, I'm looking at that. So, as far as I'm concerned, you mix that all up, Danny Dubois quit. And people right. And let me tell you this, because it was the other way around. And Joe Joyce, who, even though they're both promoted by Frank Warren, but he was not the house fighter, Danny Dubois was. Everything was scared about Danny Dubois being his next big thing, right? If it was the other way around, everybody would say that Joe Joyce quit.
That, I agree with that. I agree, 100%.
So, no, I don't want to hear no nonsense about, oh, well, he's 23, or, oh, no, well, like, and a lot of people, I've noticed in the world that we're living in today, right? We like to sugarcoat things too much. We don't like to say things of what they are because you don't really seem like you're falling into one certain bracket or another certain bracket. And everyone's, you can't talk about this because you'll be seen as nonsense. Speak your mind. You know what I mean? But then also, as you speak your mind, justify your mind. Don't just speak for the sake of speaking and you can't back it up. I'm saying to you, I had to back it up first and I'm going to break it down. As far as I'm concerned, Daniel Dubois quit. Right? And his eye could have been this and that and everything else. But I remember sitting down watching Chris Eubank Sr. go through hell against Carl Thompson. Two times against Carl Thompson in 98. I don't want to hear, these are the things like, when you've been immersed in boxing, there's certain things that you say that you just ain't going to go do. Right?
Yeah, I agree with you, Spencer. So when you switch it up and we speak AJ, you could think if AJ was to have taken a knee in his fight against Pulev if he was caught, you can guarantee the media would have jumped on that and said he quit. 100%.
Listen to me. He would have got murdered if he had took the knee. Because two things. He didn't take the knee for Black Lives Matter. So why is he taking the knee for this? You know what I mean? Daniel, why did he take the knee for Black Lives Matter? But you have it. So this is what I'm trying to say. What in commemoration for George Floyd? No, you took the knee. Yeah, like you said, you took the knee. Why did you take the knee? Because the pain that you was in, I get it. You were in immense pain. But the warrior spirit is meant to go through that. People say, well, what are you trying to say? Well, you didn't do nothing. I didn't, but I never ever quit. Never.
Yeah, David Hayes said it straight away on BT Sport. He said, I didn't like that. That's what he said straight away.
Right. And the thing about it is this, your first thing that you turn out, you say, that should be the thing that stands with it. And no, it was the eye. Different thing, different scenario. If we go back, what was it? February 25th, 1994, Joe McClellan versus
Nigel Benn. Yep.
Right? And I remember Ferdy Pacheco, well-renowned, he was Muhammad Ali's fight doctor, and blah, and he made a living afterwards by being a broadcaster. And he said, oh, McClellan quit. But McClellan was going for it. That was in late. Right? But
the fight shouldn't have went past round one anyway, because the count was subjective. However, Nigel Benn did go to the well, and we love Nigel Benn, to be honest. Hero.
It was. But you know what? You're meant to get extra time out if you get knocked out of the ring.
That's true.
But anyway, regardless of that, I'm still turning around and saying Joe McClellan didn't quit because he was going through hell. You know what I mean?
It was the blinking, wasn't it?
Right. And the fight was actually punched out of him. If the fight's punched out and you go down, that's not quitting. It's been punched out of you. Right? But the fight was even Stevens. Your eye went, you got hit, you stopped, you paused from fighting, you turned away, and you went down on one knee.
It was calculated.
Right. So you knew what you was doing. And like I said to you, that was recompense for what you said about Joe Joyce's mother. That is it.
So where does he go from here, Dubois? What's his next move?
When I turned around and said, I don't think it's going to be very difficult for him to come back. I think we've seen the last of him. And then, how can you say that? He's only 23. And no, because you're still going to do the same things. Yeah. You're still going to do the same things, right? Now imagine we had Mike Tyson and Roy Jones boxing exhibition, right?
Yes.
On the same night, a combined age of 105, right? 105. Right? That's 82 years more experience than anything that Daniel Dubois has. But yet they both moved their head.
Yeah, that's true.
And they're two old men.
Yeah.
I rest my case.
So, touching on the Joshua Fury potential showdown, the mechanics of this fight are really a spaghetti mess, if you could say, in terms of broadcasters. You have Sky Sports with Anthony Joshua and DAZN in America. You have ESPN with Fury and Queensberry and BT Sport with Tyson Fury. Is this fight one that can realistically be made?
100%. It was already signed earlier this year, right?
Yep.
So, of course it can be made.
Would it have been a cross-broadcast event, would you say? Or would there be one platform showing it?
It would be. I think the first cross-broadcast event of note was Mike Tyson versus Lennox Lewis.
Yeah.
What was that? 2002. So,
I remember the headline, Lewis Tyson is on.
Is on. It was incredible, right?
Yeah.
That is funny. I was just speaking to Lennox Lewis about an hour ago. So that fight was the first, and then the bigger one than that was Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather. So it can be done, and there will be enough money generated between these two combatants to make that happen, and that's what I think will happen. So when we're saying, "Oh, but this and blah," if the public want it, we will get, and the public actually want that fight.
Oh, absolutely. And in terms of the actual breakdown of the fight itself, I don't think Joshua gets enough credit for his actual boxing ability. Wasn't it a couple of years after he first ever put on a pair of gloves, he actually goes out there and achieves an Olympic gold? You don't get that being a novice boxer. Yes, the fight against Roberto Camarelli was subjected by some corners. The reality is, I don't think he's getting enough credit of how good a boxer he genuinely is.
I think here's the difference. You get certain kids who are immersed in the sport of boxing from a young age, early recollections and everything, they can remember them, right? And then it is what they want to aspire to be. Anthony Joshua, through his cousin, Benga, walked into a boxing gym, thought, I quite like this. And then it was what it was because he's a big, athletic human being. Remember they had this kind of superstars thing years ago. I think it was like 2012. They had this superstar thing with him. There's quite a few people, Ricky Hatton. Anthony Joshua smashed everything. Bike riding, smashed it. Swimming, smashed it. 100 meters, smashed everything he smashed. Because that's him. He's that superstar athlete, right? Anthony Joshua could play football, just smashed it to bits. He's a very, very good footballer. Go give him a basketball. He'd be pretty good with that too. He's just that guy. But when you're immersed in the sport from a young age, certain technicalities you get because you see genius guys doing it and you want to emulate it. Unfortunately, Anthony Joshua didn't come from that. So Anthony Joshua weren't in love with boxing like how a Tyson Fury was in love with boxing. Because Tyson Fury prides himself on being a fighting man. You know what I'm trying to say to you? He's all man used to be a fighter. It's a different kind of cut.
Big John, yeah.
Right, it's a different kind of cut where you say, like, I love this sport. So, no, I don't think he's not been given the credit for his boxing ability because I think Anthony Joshua is good at taking instructions. I don't think he's good at freestyling, right? Okay. I think he's very, very good at taking instructions and putting it together. But as a freestyler in the ring to do things, no, because he wasn't permitted to do it. Then he gets beat by Andy Ruiz last year.
Yeah.
And then when he gets beat, the whole game changes because what do? He starts, I used to scream out to Anthony Joshua, get more boxing people around you. Because the guys you got around you are your friends. That's nice. That's really cool. You feel comfortable, right? But they're your friends. They're not guys who are going to be constantly, oh man, and they're going to be buzzing to watch this. Oh man, watch this fight here. And you ain't got none of that.
Yeah.
Right? And seriously, the guys who really get the key success from this sport are the guys throughout history who have loved the sport, but they studied the sport too.
Yeah, Tyson Fury does study. He studied it all.
Until the fight's announced, I can't give a breakdown, right? You'd have to favor, like I said to everyone, you'd have to favor Tyson Fury to win that fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, sorry, you have to favor Tyson Fury to win that boxing match. And potentially Tyson Fury could stop Anthony Joshua in the late rounds because he's showing that he's got an engine and he's been 12 rounds quite a few times.
Yes.
So you'd have to favor him. But if Anthony Joshua's got to bite down his gum sword, Wakanda forever, go for it. You never know what could happen. right? And whereas Anthony Joshua would have to bring this into a real dogfight, and Tyson Fury hasn't got an inside game. And if he did that, go look. Let anyone try and argue and say Tyson Fury's got an inside game. You can see Tyson Fury up close and throwing hands and going around the side. He hasn't got inside game because he doesn't need to use it. Because as soon as he's up close, Tyson Fury knows it's a shovel, turn your way, spin your way. Reason why, because you're fighting man who's been in the game, he knows the game.
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua would have to stick it on him. Anthony Joshua would have to be on him like white on rice. Anthony Joshua would have to be on Tyson Fury like Vicks Vapor Up. Anthony Joshua would have to be on his chest like he's Benelin. You know what I mean? He'll just have to be on him.
Like the Klitschko fight.
Pardon me?
Like the Klitschko fight.
No.
Because I thought
when he needed to in the Klitschko fight, he went in on him and he had to knock him out.
Yeah. But then got gassed at the end of that third, and we all know what happened later in the rounds after that.
Exactly. Anthony Joshua just had to stick it on him. Not trying to get into a boxing match, just stick it on him. But you know, when Tyson Fury gets going, and now what's happening is now that he's with Sugar Hill, Tyson Fury's like, you know what? I'm using my 19 stone. I'm using the fact that I'm 6'9". That's the attributes that he uses now in the fight. And he used it to great success against Deontay Wilder. Which was my prediction when I said that he was going to stop Deontay Wilder, and people said you're crazy, right? And I was getting
there was a lot of people that said that. John Fury actually said, didn't he, on the BT Sport preview show that he's going to knock him out. And my goodness, you were both right.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going by that. I was just going by. I knew that Tyson Fury lost Terence Crawford in bodyweight to get down to fight. So
wow,
and that's what he did. And the two guys previous to who he fought in the first fight, he wouldn't even hire those guys for sparring, right? So he did that, and he boxed, and he beat Deontay Wilder, but he got knocked down twice, and they gave it a draw. Okay then, but I knew that's the worst thing could have ever happened, because Tyson Fury's gone from being one side, and this is how it goes. That the hate is like putting somebody into fire, and if you know anything about, you know, when you put metal into fire, so it's a Greek word called dokami, right?
Right.
And then you take it out, you take out the metal, you have to put it into water, and it sizzles out. That fire, that's the thing that purges you, right? And if you can't anything goes wrong in that element when you put it in the water, the sword will break, the metal breaks. So Tyson Fury got baptized under fire, and he came out the tougher man on the other side. And I just knew, because he's got boxing ability and the lack of Deontay Wilder's boxing ability, even though he can punch, and he did demonstrate to us in his first Bahrain-Saverne fight that he can box. Tyson Fury, head and shoulders above these guys.
He was on another level, wasn't he? Exactly. He looked out of his depth in the second fight.
The worst thing you can do is to be up with Tyson Fury and try and have a boxing match. Yeah. Forget about it. There's nobody around today that can survive with Tyson Fury in a boxing match.
Do you think that Anthony Joshua may be forced to vacate the WBO belt to get the Fury fight? Obviously, with Alexander Usyk lurking in the shadows, would you foresee he may have to vacate that belt to make the Fury fight?
No, because I think check me. The percentage that the WBO would get for Anthony Joshua versus Usyk doesn't compare to the amount of money that the WBO would earn from sanctioning fees from Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. And I think they should pay the WBO, or they should give Usyk step aside money.
Yeah.
Say, look, you're definitely getting a shot after. Even though they've been giving him a blight before, and the WBO saying, no, we're not going to have it. The WBO should be very thankful to Great Britain more than any other country, because it was Great Britain that really boosted that title as being a title. You know, the first world champion was Tommy Hearns, and that was November of 88, when he beat James Kitchen. He was the first champion. Nobody cared about that title. It was when Nigel Benn beat Doug DeWitt, in 1990, and then defended against Aaron Barkley, he gave that title gravitas. Then off of that, it was Barry Hearn that promoted Nigel Benn versus Chris Eubank. You remember at that time
they signed the contracts on TV.
Live
and he
on
says,
TV.
I genuinely do hate him.
That's right. And Eubank said, let's have some parliamentary procedure here. Yeah.
That's right,
Right. And so the WBO got its real bringing through Barry Hearn and also through Frank Warren. So through lineage of loyalty, my friend, I think they should make that fight happen just for the simple fact. You know what I mean? Would anybody be rushing to see Usyk versus Joshua? Not particularly. Exactly. Right.
Not when this fight's on the horizon. No.
Exactly.
And this fight must be an undisputed fight. That's the selling point of the fight, isn't it?
There's potentially
world heavyweight fight.
There's potentially 6 belts on the line, isn't there? If you count the lineal.
Yeah, if you count the lineal, which is actually a Ring Magazine belt when you think about it, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, of course, that's 6 belts. So therefore, they should go and fight.
It should be an easy fight to make, really. There seems to be a want on both sides to make it.
Yeah, certainly it's not like
if you believe what they say.
Like I said, the fight was made earlier this year to be out in the Middle East somewhere. I remember MTK Global, who I run the foundation for. It was out, it was spoken about, and then it kind of died a death for other reasons I haven't got time to get into right now. So yeah, it is what it is. I believe the fight will happen. And let them sort out. And regardless, even if he had to give up one of the belts, so what?
Yeah,
we know who that would really be the undisputed title.
So the heavyweight scene is huge. Joseph Parker, Andy Ruiz. Even when you go down to the younger generation, like Filip Hrgovic, for instance, those guys coming through. But I think you're right in what you're saying. The time is now for an undisputed fight. The time is now to finally find out who is the genuine bona fide number 1 in the heavyweight division. Spencer Fearon, absolute pleasure having you on with us. Full credit to you for giving us the time. And I really hope one day we get the opportunity to catch up again, sir.
Listen, man, thanks for reaching out. Yeah, like I said, I like talking boxing with anyone, and I respect you guys' passion because that's the major thing. We're getting loads of guys who just want to talk boxing because it's now popular. But both of you, James, I know that you guys do your homework on the game. So
absolutely,
I know you do. Trust me. So because of that, then I'm very, very grateful to you guys, and that's the God's honest truth. Keep on doing what you're doing, my friends, because
you never
know where this could lead to.